We got a flat spot here. We had to get it bulldozed. You need as flat spot as you can get. Okay. Remember your brackets here? What you do is you just, we got a 2x12 by 6. I mean a 2x12 by 16, sorry about that. And you just put it down in the bracket, knock it in with a rubber mallet, drill it in. Do the same on the other side. We're getting ready to do this side here. You literally just set the piece of wood down inside the bracket and then screw it in. So, self-explanatory on that one. Okay, we got our outside frame built, so we got a perfect square now. You won't have to measure anything, you won't have to square anything up, because if you put the brackets right on the edge, when you put the wood in there, it'll force you to move it all into a perfect square for it to set into the bracket. So.
Even if it's off a little bit, once we
it's off a little bit. After you put the boards across on the inside, it'll pull everything in together. So there's that. We're gonna go get the cables that go across at the bottom. That way we can get our post pulled in straight at the top. Then we're gonna run our boards across. If you get your square built, something you need to check on it. Just make sure it's level on all 4 sides. See that? That's what you're looking for right there. You need to be in between those lines. It's alright if it's off by just a little bit. As long as it's in between those lines, it's close enough. Ours is perfectly level. So, we'll come back here in a minute as we install the beams that'll hold the plywood. We've got a 3,300 pound hand jack here. With a chain around the end of it, connected. Goes to both sides. Crank this until your turnbuckle posts bow outwards. That way when you put on the ropes, they won't bow in. For the support beams, it's going to hold your wood. What you got is just a little wood tie here. Bolt it on. Make it to where the top of your beam sits about 1 inch below the top of your side rails. That way when you sit on the plywood, you won't have to screw it in. It'll fit down in here and line up with the edge. Put 1 screw in on the side to hold the wood in place.
So it can still be loose.
So that this doesn't try to move any. And you only do 1 on this part. Otherwise this here, you're going to lose all your bounce. It still has a decent amount of bounce right now. Hold on 1 second. Go ahead and push down on it. So, as you can see, it still has a decent amount of bounce.
Okay, so now we're working on the 2x4, which is going to support the 2x6s. So when you take a bump on the ring, it doesn't cave all the way down. This is going to catch the 2x6 from falling too far.
You got the 4 sides up. Run a board down the inside of this that the edge of your plywood will set on. Screw it in there good. Make sure you got enough screws to hold it. You got the chains with the X cable at the bottom of it. You got a 2x4 running from the middle across. That's got a board going down on it. That way when you spring, it stops it so you don't go down too far. Okay. Here we've got some rope connected with eye bolts. What you need to do is you need to tighten this down after you get your first piece of wood in. What it'll do is it'll tighten up onto it. You do it this way, that way your ring stays square.
Doesn't bow out.
What you're going to do is you're going to put a bracket like this every 2 feet. And you're going to put the board in. You're going to screw it in on one side, on the middle ones, one side here, one on here. Then you're going to stand with another board in between the two. On the other ones here, you put you screw it in on both sides of the bracket. So we'll come back to you right here in a minute after we get all the boards in so you can see what it looks like. Okay, this middle board here, got one sandwich in between to where they bounce all at the same time, because the bracket's going to make it to where there's a 2-inch gap in between. So good board, good board. Just a piece of board in between. And then you got the brackets every 2 feet. We got to go in and put the other boards in. So we'll get back to you as soon as we get the other boards in. We got to go get a saw because some of our boards are a little bit too long. We've got all of our 2x6s on underneath here. We're going to start putting on plywood now. what we're going to do is we're going to lift up right there in the middle. We got 2 pieces of tin here. We're just going to make an X in the center of the ring. That way when you hit it, makes a better noise. This is how it sounds right now.
This is all wood on wood. So it sounds alright, but we're going to add a little bit more to it. This is completely optional. But we'll get back to you.
In the middle, on the inside and outside of the ring. This is optional. We would recommend it though, because otherwise you're going to get a lot of plywood bounce and it might slip loose and you might fall through to the floor. So this is something that we would recommend. It is optional, but we would recommend go ahead and screwing them down there. Just 1 screw on each end so it doesn't slide. Screw down more than that, you're not going to get any bounce out of your ring and it's going to hurt like a bitch. Okay, we're underneath the ring here. Okay, so you got 2x6 going this way here. The 2x4 going here. What you're going to do is right in the middle of the ring, take the tin, lay it in an X shape, like that. This rope right here that you tighten down from that side to that side, it's going to hold this bottom piece down, and it's going to make a guide for this top piece to set in. And what you're going to do is you're going to take 1 screw or a nail or anything, just put it right here in the center of this, right here, down into the board. That way it doesn't come loose. You can see the other boards there. See there's no seams in the plywood. So everything under here looks good. And just put it in there. This again is optional. Something else I've seen people do is stop signs in the middle. Anything like that. Just anything big and tin. That way when you hit, instead of just hearing wood, you're going to hear Kortoosh. We'll give you a sound test right here in just a second. Okay, padding. What you're going to want to get is a 1/4 inch thick carpet padding. As you can see there. Roll it onto your ring as best as you can. Duct tape the seams. And try to get it as close to the edge as possible. We actually had some extra that we actually went back with a knife and cut off that was hanging over the edges. So I mean, you can just get carpet padding.
Or you can get a gym mat.
Or a gym mat. And now that this is on, we're going to show you how it sounds with the tin under there now, because you're not going to hear any of the wood clanging and banging. So,
we get a good view of you.
Take in mind, this is not doing a move or anything. This is literally just me jumping like 2 inches off the ground.
It's got a nice rattle.